Good evening, everyone. I'm Ruchira Hujgol with Mehek Gole.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Today, the seventh day of celebrating World Space Week 2021 with the theme Women in Space. Let's take a glance back at the very first day, where Marcus from UNOSA gave us some statistics referring to how there is still exists gender inequality in the space sector and how UNOSA has started initiatives like Space for Women to encourage and support women and girls working in the space sector. Adding to such initiatives, I think the World Space Week 2021 celebration at SSERD this past 6 days and even today stand out to be an example of how the picture of inequality is now changing and women, young girls are taking lead and firmly making efforts and achieving tremendous success in their respective fields. I'm very sure that every girl, woman, and in general all the audience would definitely agree with me.
Yes, Rochara, I definitely believe the all of our audience would definitely agree with you. I personally do agree with you because see, while the World Space Week started, I would say the World Space Week itself gave us so many examples of strong women who pursue career in space. Whether it be Julia, who talked about how we as youth had numerous fear related to various subjects, be it mathematics, be it science, but the only thing we should work on is to continue and never settle. Also, I remember one of our panelists, Kavindi, mentioned that when we dream bigger, it is essential that we also dream louder so that not only we raise our voice, but also be a voice for many and motivate them at the same time. And so did Kareen mention, who said she never looked back, she only looked forward. And that's how students should be curious and do projects through their school lives or in their companies and never have a fear of failure. And not just that, we also talked so much about the technology itself, like privatization of the space sector and how it would help in near future for the private companies to grow and collaborate with government organization, which will again open up so many opportunities for a young age. And also we learned about space tourism, where Dr. Anjali mentioned how there are so many opportunities that lie in the space and the way a different environment would ignite all the innovative minds to use that for developing new technologies and improving when they come back on earth. And much more so did we learn about the vivid career opportunities that lie in the space sector, when earlier we used to think that space is only for astronauts, but the speakers itself proved it wrong, because we had women from who were like space law practitioners, we had astrobiologists, then we had space engineers, program leaders, and CEO of various space initiatives, which gives us an idea about how vast the field of space is. And we, together with a collective effort, will definitely succeed at it. Yeah, so we had like a numerous amount of women panelists who talked so well and who motivated all of us. Yes, Rochelle.
That's very true. That's very true. And also in the recent past, like on 20th July, launched from Texas by the Blue Origin, gave a chance to aviator pioneer Wally Funk, a 82-year-old, to take her very first flight and imbibe the start of space tourism. In the 1960s, Funk was among the so-called Mercury 13 women who went through astronaut training, but they never made it to the space or even to the NASA's astronaut corps because of their gender. But today is the 21st century, and slowly and gradually things are changed and are changing. Wally Funk is a superwoman who broke all the boundaries like age and gender and fulfilled her dream at the age of 82 years to be the oldest person to launch into the space. Now, coming to the future and talking about the future, in the coming next 2 years or so, NASA has announced the Artemis Lunar Exploration Program, which uses the innovative new technologies and systems to explore more of the moon than ever before. So, one of the prominent aim of this mission is to land the first woman with other male astronauts on the moon by 2024, and also to inspire a new generation and encourage careers in STEM, which I think is very important motive to have, right? So, with this, I give it back to Mehek. Mehek, over to you.
Yes, Rucha, it's definitely a great motive and definitely a great opportunity for all women participants, even in our program. So moving ahead, I remember one of the quote which Pema Chodron once mentioned. He said that the future is completely open and we're writing it moment to moment. So I think you must be excited about something. So get ready for the most blazing topic for our today's panel discussion, which is the future of space era. And for this amazing panel, we have with us Dr. Andreea, who's an astrophysicist with research interest in the formation and evolution of galaxies. She uses computer simulation to model the formation of galaxies like our own, the Milky Way, and also the enrichment with chemical elements of galaxies in the universe, and to understand the nature of dark matter. She obtained a PhD in astronomy from the University of Victoria, Canada. She is now a senior lecturer at the Astrophysics Research Institute, Liverpool John Moores University. Next, we have with us Preeti Syal. Preeti Syal is a senior specialist director in the Frontier Technology vertical at Niti Ayog, where she leads emerging technology policy interventions across healthcare, justice legal system, research around responsible AI, and efforts around digital inclusion of women entrepreneurs across the country. She has more than a decade of experience working across a variety of technologies in India, US, Latin America. Preeti holds a master's in science from North Carolina University and a master's in public policy from University of California, San Diego. We also have with us Dr. Parul Patel, who's a senior scientist with Space Application Center, Isro Ahmedabad. She did her master's in science from the MS University of Baroda and PhD in science on target parameters retrieval using synthetic aperture radar polarimetry from Nirma University. She joined ISRO in the year 1988. At present, she is a group director, research, training and outreach coordination group SARC, and also a PhD guide at Nirma University, Ahmedabad. She leads technology development and R&D activities of SARC and sponsored research across Indian academia. She also looks after Space Technology Incubation Center, ISRO Academia Industry Triad, and the outreach and extramural training activities across the country. For her outstanding contribution to Indian space program, she has been awarded the ISRO Merit Award 2018 and Women Excellence Award in Science by Utkarsh Foundation. And also we have with us Lisa Stojanovski, who's a former business development administrator at Rocket Lab USA. She's also a passionate about accelerating humanity's evolution into spacefaring civilization. Her greatest strength is the ability to self-run rapidly, offering fresh perspectives on stale business processes that result in improved efficiencies and robustness. And she always hates the phrase, "we've always done it this way." So, and to moderate this panel, we have with us Nikhitha. So Nikhitha is SSERD co-founder to open a space frontier to all by promoting space education among the community and preparing the young generation for the space revolution. Also, she received the Karnataka Women Achievers Award Youth Icon 2019 for her outstanding work at inspiring students in STEAM and space. She is an Indian based space enthusiast, science communicator, and Dr. Kalpana Chawla scholar from International Space University. And also, she is a motivational speaker and a social impact entrepreneur. She's so called mogul for her dedication and passion for space and STEM education. Nikhitha is an ambassador of studies in France appointed by the French embassy in India. She's a great supporter of girls and women. And I'm pleased to welcome you all and honored to have you with us today in this amazing panel. So now I would request Nikhitha to come up here and moderate the panel discussion.
Thank you so much, Mehak and Ruchira, for starting off. It was an amazing start. And now we're very happy to have all of our moderators here on the screen to start off with our panel discussion on the future of space era, one of the wonderful topics that our team has curated. So, yep, we have all of them here. We will wait for Lisa to join in, and then we will also have her, included in the discussion. But to start off, right? We have Andrea from space background. We have Dr. Parul from space background. For sure, Preeti comes from not a space background, but I know she's been working in a very, amazing work sector, and which is for sure going to help a lot of people who are in space or who are going to get into space in the future. So, welcome you all. Thank you so much for joining. So, to start off, I have this question, which was asked for all the speakers and all the panel.
that day when you thought you should get into space, or what made you start your journey towards, and which led you to be what you are today. If you can just take like 2-3 minutes to tell us what was your journey to be what you are today, that would be great. We can start off from Dr. Andrea itself. Dr. Andrea, you're on mute.
There we go. Thank you, Nikhitha. Thank you all. It's amazing to be here. Thank you for the invitation. And it's amazing to be part of the World Space Week. And I like the theme, Women in Space. It's great to see the celebration of so many women in space. That's great. Right. So about my journey, I don't think there was a defining moment where it really hit me that I have to have a career in space. It gradually came on to me. Maybe I was a bit slow. I don't know. I always liked space, but I never actually envisaged a career in space. I didn't know exactly the connection between space and my life. I took physics in my university degree, and I enjoyed physics. But at the end of the degree, I actually got to take some astronomy courses, and that's where I really got the bug. And after that, I pursued any opportunity. I took research projects, internships, what have you, and everything that had to do with astronomy. So that's where I kind of realized that that's what I want to do. But then I realized that I didn't know enough astronomy, so I wanted to go pursue a PhD in astronomy, and that's what I did. I went abroad in Canada, and after that, I did some postdoctoral positions in astrophysics, and in the end, I got a permanent faculty position. So I think, looking back now, it kind of looks like I had a smooth career in academia and everything was planned from day one. It wasn't like that. I think it certainly didn't feel like that. It felt like always like looking at what's the next step and what's the next opportunity. I think I was always grateful to be in astronomy and get the chance to learn more. It kind of worked out in the end. Anyway, by the way, I still learn about astronomy every day, so that's what I'm doing. That's about me.
Thank you so much, Andrea, for introducing how it started with you and to what you are today. And I want to tell you, you are in such a position to inspire many students out there. I always respect that profession of being a professor, and you're doing amazing work out there. We will talk much more, and now I would request Dr. Parul Patel to tell us what was your journey, ma'am, in this space. Ma'am, again, you are also on mute. Can I request? Yeah.
Yeah, am I audible? Yeah.
Yes.
When I was doing my masters, that time itself, it always excited me to look at new things, and I had inquisitiveness in everything that I do. So research was always there, and there was a dream. ISRO is a big dream as far as any Indian, scientist, science graduate who is there, he'll always look forward to joining ISRO. So luckily for me, there was an opening which is for my own graduation, post graduation background. So I got this chance, and I just grabbed it, and it was so exciting. The earlier days that we had, we used to do micro remote sensing. So we look at how electromagnetic waves interacts with different targets on the earth, and then when the satellite passes, we'll try and go to the field and then observe what are the parameters which is influencing. So all the field work and understanding from the images and the newer technology excited us so much, and we were totally engrossed into it. And gradually I moved towards interacting more with our other fellow professions who are into this remote sensing. I was a secretary to the Indian Society of Remote Sensing for 4 years, and all the professionals, we used to have a lot of outreach activities, and like uh, organizing seminars, symposia, more of academic in nature. that we will have with the interactions. And then lately I'm interacting, I'm looking after the research management as a whole, which we have all the research, in-house research that we do. There are various programs that we have. So every day, as Andrea has also said, we are learning more and more, and the newer things that you see, then you feel that yes, understand the subject all the more better. So from applications that I was looking after, now I'm understanding the hardware of it, the engineering aspects, what it goes into the space payloads, and how you do come across various programs to the camera systems which is there. How do not just in electromagnetic, this thing, wave of that electro-optical, but in microwave, how it works, how do you communicate, how the communication works, and so much so that even quantum communication I'm trying to understand. So that is something that these are the uh, you know it's always exciting for like somebody who is in ISRO. uh, every day you have a new challenge, and you try to look at the things in a newer way. So it keeps you live. I mean, I've joined ISRO since 1988, but I don't find any time that I'm doing the same old thing. So that's something really exciting for the space research, that it's a field which is ever um, growing. So you will always find exciting things, and we have lot many things to do and lot of things to be learned. The more you know, you come to know, yes, oh, you never knew this. So there are lot many things that out there which you need to understand. Yeah.
Thank you so much for again that brief journey of yours, how you started, or how, in fact, every day is a learning for you. Every day is something to show to show something that new coming out of ISRO, right? It's amazing to hear. I'm pretty sure there is so much to know from you. But we will also hear from Preeti. Preeti, could you tell us how was your journey started from studying abroad and coming back to India and working in this domain? Because that is something which we don't see quite often happening, and you are into that, and it will be really nice to hear from your end as well.
Sure, thank you. Lovely to hear what Andrea and Dr. Patel had to talk about. Very inspiring. I am actually from an aspirational district. Those who do not know what an aspirational district is, India has this program called aspirational district programs, where bottom of the bottom districts are actually enlisted so that they can come up. So that's like a development program that Indian government has. So I was born and brought up in an aspirational district, and as far as I can remember, I mean, in all of these districts, you always have the issues of power. Every time you would have a power cut, you would sleep outside and you would try to recognize, what are the stars, what are the star formations. That's time pass because that's how you eventually fall back to sleep. And I remember that was my first space lesson. For everyone in my neighborhood, that's how space exploration began to happen. And it's very surprising how people who are not even educated or if ever went to school know all of this. They'll know the significance and they'll know the formations, different names. And it's exciting just to, start your first science lesson like that. So I think I that's probably the reason why I also came back after all the education, because I don't think education makes a lot of difference unless you're actually putting it into practice and really making a difference out of it. I mean, I can be educated, but if I just keep it to myself and if I'm not using it like Andrea and Dr. Patel are using it, I don't think it makes any difference in anybody's life or even my life as well. So for me, the motivation was just that. There is so much diversity in India. There's so many problems. And like Dr. Patel said, every day is exciting. There's so many things that you can work on. Yeah, science sometimes feel limited. And for me, I think space, like I said, it's a beacon of hope. So yeah, that's my story.
Thank you so much, Preeti, for adding that note on how how the life is for people out there in the places like where you came from. And I think it's same in certain places, but then they wouldn't look out when like let's say only with interest people would go and see. But as you mentioned, in those kind of regions, it's, I think it's part of the life, right? Like your daily life. That's wonderful, and I'm pretty sure that would create a lot of inspiration to many students. Thank you very much for everyone to start off this whole session with your own journeys. Now, let me ask a question which is very much related to your domains, right? So, Dr. Andrea, you've been into this astrophysics background, with astrophysics background, and you've been teaching. I'm pretty sure you've done a lot of research work. Could you tell us, as we know that you are in the field of your field of interest lies in the Milky Way galaxy. So, what is that exactly excites you about our galaxy, and what are some of the major computational models like you created, or you would have seen some of the amazing works that you feel like it was so important, which was not there long back, and now with that we can do much more research work, right? Or give it back to the world. So if you could just throw some light on all these aspects, it would be really great.
Thank you, Nikhitha, and thank you all the panel speakers. It's really inspiring. Yes, thank you for asking about my research. I think I am very excited about the galaxy because it's our place of where we actually live. We live in the solar system, but actually our home, a bigger home, is our own Milky Way galaxy. So that's what draw me into it. But I was also very fortunate that during my career, something very exciting happened in this field. And one thing that really revolutionized the field, so to speak, is the satellite, space satellite called Gaia. Now, this is a major achievement that has been in the planning for many years, probably more than 20 years. Hundreds of astronomers and engineers have worked on making it happen. Now, so it happens is it's out in space now. It's been launched in 2013, so it's been churning out data for about 8 years now, sending us regularly data from our galaxy. And every time Gaia sends us data, we learn new things about our galaxy. So that's really exciting. Before we were data starved, I'm sure Preeti knows what that means. Is that you don't know how you have lots of theoretical models, but you don't actually have the data to actually confront them with. And now we have all this data, and we can dig into all this data and find out what happened with our galaxy. And we can find out what happened at the very beginning, in the early stages of galaxy formation. How many smaller galaxies kind of crashed into our own, and what did they do to the galaxy? And we can put a time stamp on these events. It's really exciting. And I think you mentioned I do simulations. This is another second thing that it's been exciting in the past few years. It's just this rapid development of computers and computer power. And that gave us the ability to simulate galaxies on a computer, which is really exciting. It's a bit like magic. You put some physical laws in, and then you let the computer do the job. And at the end, you have this wonderful spiral galaxy that you can look at. Of course, it's not magic. It's just physics, but it kind of feels that way when you actually look at the simulation that you actually have done, and it's like it's really amazing. I always am amazed when looking at these galaxies. So yes, what we harness the power of these supercomputers to actually simulate galaxies like our own. Our own group has made several such simulations, and we weren't content with just one Milky Way. More. So we have about many dozens of galaxies like the Milky Way. And each of these galaxies have their own formation history. Some looks more like the Milky Way, others don't. And I think what's interesting is that helps us to put things into perspective and kind of find out what's unique about the formation of our own galaxy in the bigger context of galaxy formation. And it answers all these questions we had before about our place in the universe and where we come from. So I think that's the two exciting things. I can talk more about this, but the two exciting things are just having lots of data and also having the computer power to actually compare observations with theory.
Agree to the point that we were just looking at stars with this technology that came in to collect more information from the universe, And of course with our computer technology, which has helped us to analyze the types or much more. I'm pretty sure the brains like yours were so useful, or to come up with all those solutions, or in fact the data which has helped us to know more about the universe, right? Thank you so much for that answer, and in such a good explanation. Now let's go to Dr. Parul Patel, where if ma'am, you just heard how Dr. Andrea said, uh, which is her favorite galaxy. Like she said, we are in this galaxy, so this is our interest. I'm pretty sure you're working with satellites and everything. And can you, throw some light on how these satellites could be used for what's happening here on Earth? And you can explain us what's happening in ISRO right now, probably in your own department. That would be great.
Yeah, sure. Uh, in fact, see, the satellites, as it has a lot of cameras, you can say, like what we have sensing, right? Remote sensing is something which is done from space platform. So you have a lot of cameras there, and which is working like your own eye. So that is in the optical region that you have, so electro-optical regions, and there are microwave regions, there are thermal regions. You can sense the heat from the earth surface or from planets and from galaxies also, as Andrea has mentioned. So for these satellites, from where I come, the Space Application Center, uh, it is a multidisciplinary center in the sense that it designs these all the payloads and does the fabrication of it also. So design and development both is done. Once these sensors, we call it them payloads, once it is all ready and encapsulated in a bus, satellite bus, it goes into the space, and then it starts taking the pictures, and you are able to see the features on the earth, various features. And like, say for example, an agricultural area, India, the most important part is that of food security, right? So when you look at 100 kilometer by 100 kilometer of an area, total area will be seen in a snapshot, in a fraction of second, and you will come to know, looking at that area, that yes, your crop is in what growth stage, whether crop sowing has been completed or not. So before the crop is harvested and it is in the market, you are able to make estimates about what is the amount of crop yield which is expected to come. Will it be sufficient for our population, or do we have to do import, or is it too much of growth is there, too much of production is going to expected, so do we have to plan for exports, or if there are some areas, say water or deficiencies, there is some of the part is not getting sufficient irrigation. You'll come to know that yes, these areas we need to release canal water so that can be irrigated, and the crop is will be able to survive and will get full produce of it. Or if there are any disasters, for example, in particular, in case of floods, there are areas, villages which are marooned in total areas. You will come to know, even under the full thick clouds also, under the cloud cover which is there, particularly in Kharif season, in rainy season in India, you will be having cloud cover all over. And since you can't see up above, the satellites which is working in our electro-optical region will not be able to see through them. But it's the microwave data in which I have been doing the work, will be able to penetrate through the clouds and see which are the areas where water logging has been there, where the flooding is there, where do we need to send our food packets if I have to send, or we have to go send some help through this thing. Where is the village? Where should we go? Which are the villages which are totally submerged under water? So this is the kind of help which is there. These are all broadly from remote sensing. Now, remote sensing and the communication, our satellite communication technology which is there, both of them together is helping us save our lives on the coastal regions, during the cyclone. We are hit by cyclone, So often Orissa coast is known for cyclone. So in the earlier we used to get data at a interval of 3 hours. Now you are getting data at every 15 hours, 15 minutes. Okay, so you are able to make your predictions much better and with finer resolutions, which is there. And what was the situation somewhere 20 years back has totally changed. Cyclones still come. We are still, we still lose all the rails and all the infrastructure which is there, which we can't help. But human lives, from say 10,000s in Orissa super cyclone that we lost, it was really unfortunate at that time, to it has reduced to almost nil today. So this is the kind of applications that space has to offer for all our day-to-day lives. Directly, it is helping us. And if you see your navigation, we are so used to with our Google Maps these days that you will just put, like some 15, 20 years back, when as a scientist we used to carry those big GPS modules, Magellan GPS 20 years back, and then we'll go identify the traces which are there. But now you just have to put one location from here to where you have to go. Unknown terrain, you go to say any country, you go to Japan, you will be able to navigate yourself and reach there. You don't have to worry about like whom will you ask, how are you going to reach to that location. This is all possible because of satellite navigation which is there. And India has its own NAVIC program, so it is giving very high accuracies over Indian region. So these are all the benefits that we have, be it disaster, be it in your water resources, in agricultural, your food security related thing, even urban sprawl, in which direction our cities are growing. We are able to map that using all our data, which is we are getting, and a lot of work is happening in coordination with various departments of government, and we are able to provide timely information. And that is now, with all the space reforms which are there, you are aware India is on to verge of this space reforms. With that, in fact, with our honorable Prime Minister's vision, we are having this in space and this NSIL which is in place. And with that, we are going to like increase these applications manifold. It is like we have been doing a lot of research within Isro and demonstrate, but bringing it to full potential of involving all our common people into the space technology through our private entities which are there. So this is going to be very exciting. In particular, the topic that you have kept, future of space era. We are really onto a total transformation which is going to happen over in India. Within a few years, we'll see it totally different space, sector which is coming up.
Amazing. Thank you so much, ma'am, for that much of information where we basically, in fact, this is something Dr. Sita on our first day's panel said. She is also a former research scientist. She mentioned for all of us that ISRO was actually started with an intention to help the society, for the society, and we just heard from you how useful, how it has been helping the community, right? So that's amazing, and we are always so thankful for all the scientists who are working at ISRO, and for all the amazing ideas that you would have come up with, the technologies, innovations. Thank you so much. Let's hear from Preeti. Preeti, you're working at Niti Ayog. I'm pretty sure few of our audience here might not know what Niti Ayog is as well. But if you can explain what is Niti Ayog, how is your day-to-day activities out there, and also if you can tell us what are the works that are happening in the field of space and Niti Ayog, that would be great.
Sure, sure. I just want to continue listening to Dr. Patel and Andrea, though. They have such interesting conversations and stories going on. I just feel like an outlier in the entire data set. But yeah, Niti Ayog is Government of India's premier policy think tank. The idea behind formulating the think tank was areas that probably need immediate attention, or areas that we have not been able to focus as as policy interventions are concerned. That was the idea behind it. So there's one body that just thinks in direction of where should the country be headed. What were the mistakes that we made when we did make some policies? So some of it is also monitoring and evaluation. You just don't blindly keep making policies. You also go back and see if what you did was right. So it's a combination of all of that, and then there is a big segment of which also focuses on innovation, which is the Atal Innovation Mission. And Atal Innovation Mission is working a lot in the area of space innovation and space technologies. The idea behind Atal Innovation Mission was to nurture future minds of India, try to give them the possible environment of innovation that typically you would not see in a school setting. So you have thinking labs, or you have incubation centers that cater to innovation specifically in specific areas. So, for example, I think there was a space challenge that just, I think, concluded this week, and it started in September. So the idea was very similar. You have all of the possible areas of space exploration that you can think of. Of course, education is a big component of it, and then allowing kids to just dream and think of possible solutions that they can build towards future space exploration or communication, or just thinking in terms of gaming. There's so many ways that you can think of space now based on technologies. So that's primarily what we are doing in the area of space. Outside of that, there is a lot of thinking and work also happening, like Dr. Patel keeps saying. With government, the conversation around data happens so much, but there's very little that we are actually able to move when it comes to data reforms themselves. And space has been really helpful in that, because the moment you take human intervention out of data collection, you remove so many errors. And we've seen that happen, like ma'am said, it's in agriculture specifically. We've seen some of those interventions really help us change, sorry about the background noise, help us change the data collection, especially because for a policymaker, it is very important that one data set is able to speak to the other. So we used to have these data sets that were just agriculture, and we used to have these data sets that were just water, and then data sets that were nutrition or health, and they do not talk to each other. They are different formats. There is no key parameter that will talk to each other. It was very difficult. But with a lot of programs around removing human intervention and using space technologies to just collect that data has been really instrumental. And we have done a bunch of state workshops around it, trying to educate states to take that methodology, because the government is offering it for free. Why don't you make use of it? But I think the roadblock here is, it sounds like a moonshot to a lot of people, and they just cannot wrap their heads around that it is really easy. And there is still a lot of reliance on humans collecting data. So I think it is a behavioral change, and it'll take a while, but we are beginning to get there. Yeah. So I think in our day-to-day work, there is a lot of space intervention that happens.
Thank you so much, Preeti, for adding a lot of information that happens out there in Niti Ayog, and we are all looking at how Niti Ayog has always been, supporting space-related programs, like be it with Atal Tinkering Lab, which has particularly space module. In fact. Niti Ayog has been supporting a lot of startups, space-related startups in this sector. Pretty sure the next generation, or anyone who's coming up with all these ideas, will be really in need of Niti Ayog's help and all those guidance. Thank you so much for all those information again. Moving on to the next question, which is actually about the future, right? So, Dr. Andreea, why don't we start with you? can you tell us what is the future in the domain of astrophysics? What is something that all our space enthusiasts, particularly those who are interested in cosmology, astrophysics, what can they expect to happen in the future in this domain?
Well, we always thought about the future and in astronomy, and in a sense, the future is now. There's lots of new satellites going into space. So I'm talking about Gaia. There's lots of other satellites going into space, like Euclid, and lots of other things. Satellites that will actually, so Euclid is going to look at trying to understand the nature of dark matter and dark energy. And these are two big puzzles in astronomy. There's other satellites who are going to look for exoplanets and trying to find out whether there's life in space on other planets. And I think we are just about at the right capability to actually determine some bias signatures in the exoplanets. So signs of life, not necessarily someone waving back at us, but just some, like Preeti does, just looks at the data and trying to infer whether there's any signatures of like oxygen or water or signs of life or even technological signatures. So I think these are on the horizon over the next 10, even 20 years. I think people who are starting now, they're probably gonna find out really big surprises in astronomy. But I think another excitement with this, you mentioned at the beginning, this Artemis mission and going back to the moon. And people who went on the moon, they always like to do experiments there. The astronauts did lots of science experiments. There's lots of experiments every day on the ISS. So there's no reason why we should not do experiments on the moon. And people are still thinking also about putting a telescope on the moon, especially like a radio telescope, to try to determine, look again at the early stages of galaxies. That will be really, we're not there yet. It's going to take a lot of work and a lot of funding, but I think it's exciting to, especially when there's going to be a permanent location on the moon, settlement on the moon. I think there will be some scope for doing science there.
Awesome. Again, as you said, it's very exciting for students always to know that are there any planets out there apart from our planets in our solar system. Now, we at SSERD, we've been teaching about space to students, and always, right, there are a few set of students who come and want to learn more about exoplanets, black hole, and the fact that you added with Artemis mission, or like even consider SpaceX mission to Mars, we should look into what you said, like knowing about the space from that location. I think that was very interesting, which all our students must look for or think about, so that you are thinking about future and you can probably start preparing for it. Thank you so much, Dr. Andreea, for telling us how would the future be. And let's also hear from Preeti. Do you have anything which is very much in supporting to any kind of program which is supporting girls and women child or women in the Niti Ayog program list? If you could share that, I'm pretty sure those who are watching here, if they're girls, or even if they want to do something in the future, they can look for from Niti Ayog.
Sure, Nikhitha. Like I said, of course, the Atal Tinkering Labs and Atal Incubators, they are both programs which are gender agnostic. All children are equal. So that by itself is something that I think all kids and all students should definitely look for. Then we have a program, a flagship initiative, which is Women Entrepreneurship Platform. That platform tries to provide a unified ecosystem for women entrepreneurs all across the country, regardless of what stage of entrepreneurship journey you're at. You could just be in ideation stage, or you could just be launching your final product, or you're like stagnant on, or trying to just find markets for your products. We work with them, and we've seen a lot of women get a lot of support across all the categories of possibly launching your innovation, or just it could be a basic market product, but you're not able to sell it right now. So with everything going online, not everybody is digitally literate. So we also try to make sure that that gap does not hold women back. We also try to provide them with the tools that can help them go online and sell their produce or product or whatever their services they're trying to sell. So in itself, it's a big initiative which tries to cover the diversity all across the country. But we hope that we are able to address a lot of women in that. Interestingly, this year we'll be having Women Transforming India Awards for 75 women across the country, where we honor women who have made either the struggle was real, or, and I'm sure it's real for everyone, but it's very difficult to pick because we get a lot of applications every year. Last year we had around 4,000 applications just for one category, so it's a very competitive award that goes out. But what we try to do is, whoever is the winner, we try to give them the entire ecosystem for their startup. Of course, funding is a bigger problem for everyone, but let's say funding is figured out. How do you then make sure that you are creating a brand? And actually, let's say I'm somebody who wants to go global. How do I go there? And also telling women that moonshots are okay. I think that generally lacks in our ecosystem. To allow women to dream big and to be able to achieve all of that, I think that is a bigger piece of the entrepreneurship ecosystem. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Preeti, for sharing all those. So students, in case if you have any future plans of getting into entrepreneurship, there is someone to help you. Okay, that's Niti Ayog. Kindly, check about it. Keep reading about it. Keep following what's happening out there. How are they working? Whom are they supporting? Right, and that will surely help you all. Coming to the future, since we have Dr. Parul Patel also, if you could tell us what is the future of space according to you, and consider India globally. Yeah.
Yeah, as I just mentioned, it is. Uh, am I audible? Hello, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are.
Okay. Uh, so, like the kind of space reforms that we are having is changing the whole scenario as far as India is concerned. Now, and lot of like in the future, like broadly will be, of course, as Andrea has also mentioned, planetary explorations has always been very, something that has always interested all of us. And so we'll be continuing to do that, planetary explorations and looking at sun, understanding the sun, with our missions, future missions which are there. And we are also working on future technologies. We are focusing more on future technologies like quantum communication, quantum with quantum key distribution. You do secured communication in free space, secured communication you can do. Even space based solar power, that yes, we are trying, we are having a lot of solar power, but how do you try to see that yes, from space itself you harness and then try to maximize your solar potential which is there, and you can power even your satellites which are there already with that. So a lot of work is happening in that direction also. Besides our all the electro optical payloads which are there, so what kind of PCBs which are required, so all this very advanced R&D is happening in terms of atomic clock and all these state of the art TWTA, and these are the research which we'll be focusing on in future, and with private parties which will be now entering into our arena. So all the technologies which are already proven will be something which will be which will be carried out. The development will be carried out by the industries or the private parties which will be there, and will be focusing more on advanced R&D aspects. So that is how the whole scenario will change in India over a few times, a few years. And these when we involve more and more of our common people into our through our private entrepreneurship, which will be there, we'll have lot of enthusiasm towards taking up STEM projects, STEM academic pursuits from our young students, as you were mentioning. And we are already started with space technology incubation center, like our Atal Tinkering Labs, which is there in different schools. We are also like as part of our outreach program, we are supporting those Atal Tinkering Labs and taking space programs out there. And we this space technology incubation center, we try to transfer our technologies which are already existing to MTech and BTech students or PhD students, so that when they come out of their programs, they're ready with their startup ideas, so they can have startups of the components which are already required in the space sector. So that kind of space technology incubation center we have already established. We are having 6 space technology incubation centers across the country. And through directly also a lot of industries we are having good collaboration. And with our new reforms, will absolutely go in a very big way in that. And academia is contributing very actively along with our own scientists which are there. So we have a program, sponsored research program. So we give academia not only funding, but we have an expert scientist or engineer who is associated with them. So the research is directed towards product oriented. So it's not an open ended kind of a research. We'll always give a problem where we want them to focus, and from that they do the research. And we try to see that yes, the academic excellent research which is happening, how do we bring their technology readiness level to, normally it ends up into publications and it's there, okay, the research has been done. But our emphasis is that what research has been carried out, how do we bring it to a product level, so from research to technology development. So that's the emphasis with which we are working. In fact, our in-house also we have technology development and advanced R&D kind of programs. So there all these technologies are happening. So that is how we are going to go in future. We'll have more and more technologies which will be developed, which will be futuristic of in nature, like as I mentioned, space-based solar power or quantum communications and all the frontiers of these AI and machine learning. These are the fields in which you'll will take the space sector into a very different direction altogether. Yes.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for that. There is one question to you. With so many works that's been happening at ISRO, a lot of our students are interested to, join ISRO. In fact, I want to tell you the fact. We are into space education since 5 years. In the very beginning, if we used to ask students, they used to say, "I want to go and work in NASA." But the trend has changed now. I want to tell you, and I'm so happy to share that with all of you here, that they have now started telling that, how can I join ISRO? And that has been so nice. So if you can just tell them a short, probably in a short way, how, I mean, not shortcut way, but yeah, in a small message, how they can get into ISRO. And of course, there's also another question about Gaganyaan. So if you can quickly, conclude on this, and then we will go to our last question.
Yeah, ISRO joining has been a dream. I myself was a dreamer that, okay, I'll be able to join ISRO someday. And we have our Indian Institute of Space Technology. So students, after their masters, or even after 12th also, directly they can go. After their masters, they can go and do their PhD. After their graduation, they can go do their post graduation out there. So that is the way in which wherein you learn all the space technology related aspects. There are also, and then once you're trained in Indian Institute of Space Technology, you are ready for getting absorbed in ISRO. And a lot of course, you can have your own startups. We always encourage that. but there is an opening for ISRO, joining in ISRO through your IIST, and we have lot of our multidisciplinary activities which are there. So we absorb almost all the disciplines of engineering, science. You have like you have people who are from agriculture background, who are biologists, who are marine fisheries. They're working on potential fishing zone, identifying potential fishing zone from set space data like that. So you'll find it, all the physics are always there. People with physics background, mathematicians, and programming. So all the discipline of science and engineering which is there, they can all join ISRO. Of course, at ISRO it is all merit which is there, so you will have to go through competitive tests and writing competitive test, and then once you clear that, then you have that interviews and like that. So it's all a merit based system which is there in ISRO, and every way you can contribute in ISRO. But along with joining ISRO is one part, but if you want to contribute in space, you can have your own startup. You can there are lot of avenues which are there. As I mentioned, space technology incubation center which are there. You can contribute as a student also. You can join as a JRF, joint research fellowship will be there. It's a short duration, then you are exposed to the kind of avenues which are there in space sector. So that way you can it's something which excites people, and it's really like it's I know it's all our planetary missions that has given the that excitement into all the students, and it's great that they are inclined towards taking STEM, which is always something we are looking forward to, that yes, students are motivated to go into STEM programs. So yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And this is something that we tell all the students, because as soon as they hear about stars and planets, or like let's say rockets and all these, they only think that they can study aerospace engineering or aeronautical engineering. But then the fact that you said ISRO takes everyone from any pure science background, any engineering background, I think that was really, really helpful for all of our students. And we tell that all the time. It really doesn't matter, that you have to study aerospace or aeronautics to be in space industry. No, anyone is welcomed. Anyone with any background, with an interest to work in that sector, you're always welcomed by the space. So thank you so much for adding that fact over here on the call. And so bringing all of you back to the panel discussion, and one of the really interesting question, and particularly with the theme of World Space Week year, I mean, this year's theme, that is Women in Space. I'd like to ask you all a question. How was your journey as a woman in this sector? And a very important question that we're asking for everyone in this whole program. And we're looking at an answer from your end also. If you are given an opportunity to empower women or a girl, how would you do that? So we will go in round. We'll start off with Dr. Andreea itself.
Yeah, well, that's a tough one. I don't think there's an easy answer. Would have been easy, would have been done by now. I think creating opportunities, like PJ was explaining, I think, and now space is much more democratic in the sense that many more people can actually contribute. You have to find those opportunities, but also people who are in the field, I think they need to create these opportunities for the future generations. I think that's important. I certainly, I think, benefited for having access to education and having support, not only from people, obviously, people who helped me in my career, even giving some advice or more substantial support. But I think financial support, having scholarships, for example, enabled me to continue my education and continue my research. So I think that's important, especially for women, the right networks and the right financial support. But I think there's a lot of things that one can do. I think ultimately, I mean, when you mentioned empowerment and what power, if I have magic power, I think it's kind of, in the end, it all comes down to inner power, so to speak, or inner strength. And I think resilience, it's something that we all need to have, both men and women. And it's not something that you're born with. It's something that you are trained to, you learn to do over your lifetime. And it's during challenges that you actually train your skills. So I think, yes, I think that's another thing that especially women need to, or the young girls need to kind of be aware of, that you have to have the right mind attitude and just to see the opportunities, to kind of focus, find what's important for you in life, what makes you tick. And that's a hard thing to do, but once you find it, I think it all becomes more clear, and they just follow the path that you want. Sorry if I can't be any more prescriptive, but I think that's these are my thoughts.
Your answer was so nice. I mean, it was so important, and I really love the answer that you gave, because you said that look out for the opportunity or create the opportunity. I love that fact, and I think all of us must do, be it women or men. In fact, I also tell this to students most of the time who come and say, "Okay, what do we have in space? What opportunities do we have?" Um, Instead of that, you think, you look for it, and probably you create an opportunity. I heard that from you, which I feel like, okay, I was right, or whatever it is. So thank you so much, Dr. Andrea, for sharing that fact. And for sure the financial support becomes one of the uh, problem for most of us, but I think that is also something that could be figured out. So thank you so much for your points. Preeti, could you tell us how would you empower a girl or a woman? Let's not talk about space, but in STEM, all of you.
Again, like Andrea said, it's a very difficult question, and there is no one way to do it, or there's no right way to do it, or a wrong way, I would say. I think first thing, I think what as technology changes, I think there also needs to be a change in mindset. I probably have stopped using the word empowering other women, because I personally feel they deserve it, or this is rightfully theirs. I'm just handing it over. I'm just handing the baton. They have to be in positions of power for other women to see them as role models. And somebody did that for me at some point of time, and I'm not a role model, but I'm somewhere. So I think it's just somebody helped me get to a point in life where I was able to say that, okay, I know some things in technology, right? You don't have to be overtly grateful all your life and thank somebody who paved the way for it. All you have to do is pay back when your turn comes. You have to pave the way for somebody else who is behind you, pull them along with you. I think that's all anybody can do, and that's regardless of gender per se. But yeah, I think especially useful for women. And my mind always goes back to Star Trek. Star Trek had this legendary Lieutenant Uhura, who was the first black woman who came on TV, right? She created so many waves, not just within the industry, but within the civil rights movement itself. So being a role model and creating that space, fighting all the odds, and being out there, sometimes that's all is needed. And if an opportunity presents itself, do not shy away from it.
Thank you so much, Preeti. Thank you very much for adding all those points. And we'll also hear from Dr. Parul Patel.
Uh, well, it is always like what I understand from my interactions with, our male colleagues and female colleagues both, that female colleagues, which I have, women who are there, they are very sincere. Once you give them a task, and this is not just me who has observed, even our seniors also, they say that, yeah, we can, you can depend upon them. Once you have told them, yeah, this work has to be done, it will be done. And it's particularly, I like Preeti, and you will understand that with our background in Indian context that we have, a young girl is having, like, is able to take responsibility right from a very young, like when she is at home itself. So they are trained to do multitasking. So when it comes to, taking up jobs, things become so easy for them. It's hardly like they don't find it difficult balancing, their home and their this work which is there here at the office also, they are able to manage. So if you see women empowerment that way, uh, our organization itself, like, we are having some 20% of women, which is like, average is somewhere around 13-14%, like that. But ISRO, at ISRO we have very good kind of environment that we have, and we always encourage. In fact, my own division, we are all women. So that entire research that we are maintaining, like managing from academia and in-house research, all this is all run by women. And we are having researchers like, who are men, women, everywhere, everyone which is there. So that way, you are always trying to give more and more opportunities to the females who are there with you, female colleagues who are there with you. And of course there is a little uh, uh, concern which is there sometimes when their kids are small. If you give them little time, and when they are grown up, over a period of their growth, during the entire career, they are able to deliver very good work, if you see in time span of the years. So you try and give them opportunities wherever possible, wherever possible for you in your position which is there. Little, you have to be little extra concerned about them. I have seen that, because they have lot of multitasking uh, things to be done. That's a fact of life which is there. So but it has been like a wonderful being, like, there's no restriction. Even if you are a woman, once you are out in the field, then you do all kinds of work. I see, in fact, our women engineers are there. There are, they go in the fields. All our botanists who are there, they'll be in the field observing. Even marine, they'll go into oceans and do the all the sampling. And so it's no, there's no restriction as far as the activities which are concerned. So that's something really exciting. And I would personally feel that, yes, encouraging females, particularly our young girls, for taking up education, in particular in STEM, is something which is going to really help them out. So whenever I go out for discussing with school students also, my emphasis is only that if you are into a science field, you'll, like, you'll really be able to contribute, which is will be satisfying to you also, like something that you get that inner satisfaction, this, yes, you have tried and contributed to your career also. Yes.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I remember when I got, a seat in an aerospace engineering. I mean, I got an aerospace engineering seat in an university, and few people around me started telling, you know, it's not for girls. I mean, they were telling mechanical was only not for girls. How are you getting into space? And at that point of time, I just had to say, I can do it. I can do it. But it was so nice to hear from you that the scientists from long back itself have been working in these, sectors. I don't want to say they're challenging sector. I mean, nothing is challenging for a woman when it comes to work. Of course, we put in our 100% and we do it. I'm pretty sure all the students and parents who are watching this will understand that, be it any sector, it's you must not stop anyone from doing that, is what I'd like to say. And you heard from ma'am itself, so thank you so much, ma'am, for adding that point. And in fact, all of you, thank you very much for joining on this panel discussion. And we would request you to stay for another few minutes and announce those winners, because all our students who participated in so many competitions are literally waiting to know if they are the winners or who is the winner, right? So we request you to stay back, and as and when we call out you, we request you to announce the names, and that would be really great. Thank you so much. And now I hand over it to Ruchira and Mehak.
It was an insightful discussion, briefing us all about the future that space holds for one and all. So, as Dr. Parul said, that working at ISRO is the most exciting part, as every day brings in new challenges and new opportunities to learn, work, and evolve. Also, with the missions, satellite missions, which are now helping to solve problems of food security, urban sprawl, and other missions, and new startups coming up, and their collaboration with ISRO, it is now a new era for ISRO. Also, when Preeti ma'am said that education only matters when you can put it into practicality, and I think that is uh, a very important statement, right? So when you can make change only when you can put your knowledge into practicality. Also, when Dr. Andrea talked about how future for astrophysics, like we'll be looking for exoplanets for their biosignatures and also the research on the mysterious topic of dark energy and dark matter. I once again thank all the stunning panelists and Nikhitha for moderating the panel. Proceeding further, I would like to thank our philanthropic sponsors, Genex Space and D Space. Genex Space is an education tech company dedicated to creating and providing high quality all around space education and services for students and institutions. They aim to educate and guide curious young minds to achieve their space dreams with startups and professionals guidance. Also, DSpace has been awarded the opportunity to produce and distribute the ISRO's official merchandise with which they're executing through the dspace.com. And DSpace aspires to produce high quality merchandise and collectibles for space lovers and specifically for ISRO fans. Winners of the competitions, the rewards will be sponsored by Genex Space and will also receive a gift voucher by DSpace along with a certificate from SSERD. So quickly moving on to the most awaited and the excited part, that is the announcement of the winners of all the competitions that we have held during the World Space Week. I would now like to share the screen. So the very first competition, Brains on Cell, what's the catch in your pitch? So this competition was open to all who had novelty in their idea and an aim to bring something innovative to space, to bringing solutions for space problems. And we had tremendous response from the audience, like who are saying here, and the finalists must be curious to know the positions, right? So without wasting time, I would like to call upon Nikhitha to announce the winners of this competition.
Amazing. I'm pretty sure all of you are waiting. So let us know who are the winners. Great. I'd like to congratulate Om Sharaf and team for your first place, and Mayank for going and taking up the second place, and Aditya Sudarshan and Niladi Chakravarti for third place. I wish you all the best, and thank you.
So I congratulate all the winners like Om Saraf and team. Their project was regarding the radiation shielding and also modification in the space suit, especially for women comfort. And then we had Mayank Yadav. This was rather a very innovative idea wherein the emojis that we all use every day, he brought the idea of telling us the condition about our planet through emojis, which I personally liked. And then lastly, there was Aditya Sudarshan and Nilidhari Chakravarti, whose project was related to the space debris, with these missions taking fast pace. Like there'll be a lot of satellites and space debris, so like they're the main concern. So how we can reduce those space debris? His project dealt with that. With this, the next competition, Mehak.
Yeah. So the next competition was about the space missions. So talking about space missions, so this idea was basically where we wanted people to deal with kind of the technologies which are still prevalent in today's world, and what are the issues that still lie out in space and how can they improve upon them. So for this, I would request Preeti ma'am to please come up here and announce the winner.
Sure. All right. Congratulations, Anu Madhubala and Venkat Raman. Ensemble vacuum ablution. I have no idea what that means, but congratulations on what you created. And I'm sure we're going to hear more about it from Ruchira or Meg.
So
Yes,
coming to the
thank you, Preeti, and just talking about what exactly their project was. So they most essentially, as we know, today's concern about outer space, if we talk about, is clearing debris from space. So this is where their plan was so much innovative. They talked about how they would develop a mechanism which would make it definitely easier to clean space debris and avoid threats like Kessler syndrome by making space free from debris and defunctional satellites. So this idea definitely was very innovative. We move to the next competition now.
next competition, artistry, that was art full of science. The most important thing about this competition was that it was open to everyone with every art form, and we had tremendous response like from every single art form, and we were like so confused about selecting the finalists, but we made the decision. And now the winners for the competition, I would like Dr. Patel ma'am to come forward and like announce the winners for this competition.
Is it me?
Yeah. Congratulations. The first prize goes to Sumajya for her poetry, understand? Nitzana for the art form, and the Mihir Joshi for the digital art. So congratulations.
So Sumaya had written a poetry with the topic like introspection. She used beautiful words to describe all that she could see from an astronaut's perspective. Then we had Nitzana. You can see her art. It's simple but literally beautiful. And then we had Mihir, who digitally created this beautiful art. So with this, we move to the next competition.
Yeah, so next competition was about Once Upon a Time on Mars. Here, what we focused on was people had to come in, build up a story for in case they were to spend one special day on Mars, how would it be like, what their imaginations could go to. So for this, I would request Dr. Andrea Font to please come in and announce the winners.
Great. Are you all ready? So the first prize goes to Medash Garg, second to Mishan Sarin, and the third one to Anastasia Lesniewski. Well done, everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Andrea. So moving on to like what exactly Medansh had created. So Medansh actually wrote a story where he mentioned that how the shortage of water on Mars would help them discover various ideas to extract water from various places. And also he focused on making the humankind realize that how important it is to stop avoiding uh, the use of waste, and one should really avoid trashing earth to mitigate future alarming effects, which is again a very important concern even in today's date. And next, the Misha Series story was so inspiring when she talked about connecting wormholes with being a gateway to Mars, and then learning about how the first ever humans, Adam and Eve, were sent to Earth, and how people on Mars survived and still are like spying on people of Earth. So that was really inspiring and motivating about how like today's world need to learn from people of Mars and develop their technologies accordingly. Yeah. So with this, now there's a special mention. As you all know, yesterday we had an amazing session with MV, and also there was a small, very nice, interesting moon trivia quiz. So for that, the winners are out. So I am glad to announce to you the winners for that. So the first prize goes to Priyanka. The second prize is Mithali Unavain, and the third prize is Bharati. Congratulations to all the winners. Thank you all the winners for participating. And now I would request Nikhitha herself to come up here and tell us all about the World Space Week and give us some beautiful insights about the entire week.
Thank you so much. Speakers are here, Dr. Andreea, Dr. Parul Patel, and Preeti. If you still have time, kindly stay with us. But if you are running out of your time, feel free to leave. But we are so thankful in having you and listening from each one of you. Thank you very much. We have a very important announcements that we have to make from SSERD, and I also wanted to tell everyone what happened in this whole 1 week during this whole program. So let me share my screen, and then we should be able to know what are those. So this is how we started. I would make it very short and quick. So as soon as when we got to know that the theme is women in space, which is one of my favorite topic to consider, we made sure that every speaker in this program would be a women speaker, will be moderated by a woman, and will be hosted by a whole, the girls community, and it was wonderful thoughts that we had at that time, and which we made it come true. So we actually started off with Marcus Otron from UNUSA, where he mentioned what are the statistics, like literally telling how many girls and women are into STEM, how many start, but how many end, and what are the measures that are taken by UNUSA to overcome these problems, and how are they supporting with their Space for Women initiative to guide all those girls and women in the field of space. Then we had our first panel discussion during our opening ceremony, where we were so privileged to have Dr. Sita Somsundaram and Dr. Emily from NASA to discuss about what is happening in NASA and what's happening in ISRO, and to listen from them. It was wonderful, and you all can go and watch this whole session in the same platform for the entire life, because it's going to be there over there. And we were so happy to also have our second panel discussion, which is very trending, in fact, with what happened in previous 2 months, with Elon Musk taking Expedition 4, Virgin Galactic, Blue Origin, everyone, where they took set of space tourists to space. This is one of the trending, and we had a lot of questions coming up. So we thought, why not have a panel discussion on this? So we had Karin, Neil's daughter, who's actually going to go to space, who's going to go to space on Virgin Galactic in the future. We had Dr. Rajiv, who comes from policies background, and we had Dr. Shreya, who came from an engineering perspective, where everyone spoke about this particular topic in their own respective field. And then we had scope of privatization in the space industry. We all know how trending the space startups have become, how the innovation has come out with all these space startups. We were so happy and so lucky to have Dr. Ranjana Kaul, who's again a space policy expert, who's working on, or who's been suggesting a few amazing space policies here in India. We had Sheila, who's also a former scientist from ISRO VSSE, and we had Dr. Anjali Gupta, who works at Axiom Space. It was so wonderful to know what's happening here in India and globally with these amazing panels out there. And then we had on 7th of October, little like let's say a topic which is little something that never thought of, at least here in India, or never given an importance, right? Role of art and literature in the space domain. We had Dr. Nicole Starr. We're so happy to have her, who's actually a NASA astronaut, who is in fact a space artist, and she also founded her own space art foundation, which is been promoting space art. We were also having Julia, who's a fiction and non-fiction space writer, and we had Pooja, who moderated the event, who's actually a stargazer. So again, she comes also with space law background. So it was amazing to hear from everyone. And theory and practical applications go hand in hand. This is one of the wonderful topics that our team came up, wherein we wanted to see how the theory and practical go together, right? The role of it. And for that, we had panelists such as Rachna Reddy, who's an engineer, and we had Dr. Ruet, who came from astrobiology background. We had Kiara, who again comes from engineering background. We had Sonal, who's working on astrotourism. And this whole panel was moderated by Dr. Garima, who comes from space medicine background. So it was a wonderful combination of everyone coming and talking about this particular topic. On 9th of October, that's just yesterday, we had another panel discussion, which is opportunities and challenges for women in space sector. We can ask a lot of problems, or we can hear a lot of problems that people would have faced long back. But you can see the speakers out here are very young, which means we actually focused on problems that people are facing right now, particularly women in the space sector, and how do we overcome them, and how do we solve them, how do we seek support, right? This is one of the wonderful panel we had, and where the panelists were Hyun, who is a founder of Space Connects, is an entrepreneur, in profession, and we had Abhilasha Purvar, who's again the CEO of Blue Sky Analytics. She again comes from entrepreneurship background. We had Kavindi, who's the program head at Space Hero Limited, which is working in taking the common citizens to space. So it was amazing to hear from everyone. And we had Sagarika, who moderated the event, who's also the founder of Women in Aerospace Association in India. Wonderful topics that we heard from them. Apart from all this, we also had today, like as you all just were hearing, we had Dr. Parul Patel, we had Dr. Andreea and Preeti speaking about space and what's happening in Isro, what's happening in the astronomy and astrophysics background, plus how Niti Ayog has been supporting the space and space domain and students and entrepreneurs. It was wonderful listening from every single speaker out there to know more aspects. The fact you can see here is we had speakers coming from various backgrounds, and this is one thing that we wanted to tell everyone, that women are in every sectors of space. These are the live examples we could give, from which you can take motivation as. And apart from all these, we also had some special workshops and programs, because we knew that there are so many girls and women who are watching. We wanted to give them something more, right? And this is one of the workshop we had, which helped all of them to understand the resume writing, because we come across so many resumes of students which is not something that is ready to send for job application or even for higher studies. One of the important thing that we wanted to help students with, and we were so happy to have Alka Panda, who's doing her masters in Stanford University. And then we had workshop 2, which is menstrual health and well-being, which is again very important. We felt which would be really helpful for the girls and women. Wherein we had Sarika, who's the co-founder of Safe and Happy Periods, came and spoke about the how our young girls need to take care of their health. And this actually connected to the fact that if a woman astronaut is in space, what happens to them, right? It was amazing discussion we had. Workshop 3 was financial literacy for girls and women. In fact, we had everyone over there, but this was something really amazing workshop, which gave an idea for all our girls and women, and in fact everyone, on how to be financially ready for everything that is going to come in the future. We were so glad to have Alpasha to speak about this. She is the major person who's been educating so many, like I can say, thousands of people in this financial literacy domain, and we were so happy to have her. And that impact has been amazing on all our audience and the team. Of course, yesterday there was a special program which was in association with Moon Village Association again. We had a lot of programs within this, and also competition. we just announced the winners also. We would like to thank Lobo for organizing this, and I'm pretty sure all our audience would have enjoyed being part of this session. Coming to that, we have we have two announcements to be made from SSERD, that now we're part of United Nations Women's, one of the initiative called Generation Equality Allyship, wherein Generation Equality Allyship is a program by UN Women to make sure that women is given enough support, girls are given equality, and how they can support each other. In fact, helping that whole community. We are so happy to be part of this allyship, and we've been working in this sector of girls and women, gender equality and opportunities and everything. And I think with UN Women collaboration, we could do much more. We would like to support all the girls out there who are looking for becoming something in the space domain. We're there to support you, and yeah, do reach out to us. Coming to the second announcement, which is one of the I can say toughest decision that we took at this point of time, but we are so happy that we took this decision with all these things that happened in this 1 week, three months of prior program planning that we did, and the kind of effort that went in, and the kind of interest that we've been seeing from girls and women from 5 years, right? um, this is something that we wanted to do. And me being one of the recipient of Dr. Kalpana Chawla scholarship, I knew how much it helped me to learn more about space and to explore, to meet people, to, I can say, it changed my life. And we wanted to create a similar impact in a small way to start off, to all those girls who are interested in space. We want to support you. And tomorrow being International Day of Girl Child, we wanted to make this announcement today, being one of the closing event of World Space Week, which again lies with the theme of women in space. So we would like to provide scholarship for those girls who just finished 10th and who are going to 11th or 12th. If you are looking for any kind of financial support, please feel free to reach out to us. We are looking at providing financial support from now, not just the other kind of mentorship and guidance we've been giving you all, but we're also looking at helping you in this way. This is one of the major announcements we wanted to make to all of you. So if you are interested, and if you come across anyone who's interested or who would need this support, please share this message across people and they can reach out to us. But if anyone out here who are interested, there is a link here. You can just go and fill that form up, and our team will get back to you. With this, I would like to end my announcement, and thank you so much for being part of this whole program.
Thank you, Nikhitha. Thank you for such an inspirational talk about what exactly happened throughout the World Space Week and how we should work towards it, and what all inspired us throughout this journey, through this exciting journey. And also to mention about the initiatives SSERD is taking to promote women empowerment and kind of like to help them be better educated. So I'm definitely sure that all of our audience who are watching this would definitely take a note of it, and do just keep on supporting SSERD with your kind interest, and just be there as a part of it. And also do keep checking the updates regarding all of these scholarships which SSERD will be providing. Will be grateful if we could make any change to any lives, and sure we'll make more and more changes to many lives. So with this, I thank you, Nikhitha. And now I consider this occasion as an honor and a privilege to extend the vote of thanks. First and foremost, I will thank all the wonderful speakers for their valuable time, journey, and encouragement which inspired all of us. We are also grateful to SSCRD and Nikhitha, who gave us this wonderful opportunity to connect across the globe and guidance, which not only supported us, but also pushed us out of our comfort zones to do more. And I convey my best wishes to all our space enthusiasts who actively participated in workshops, competitions, and panel discussions and put forth some of the most amazing questions. Also, my heartfelt thanks to our educational and merchandise partner, Genex Space and The Space, for helping us throughout the program. And last but not the least, I would like to thank our team members who worked hard with dedication and made this event a great success. Thank you all very much, and I hope we stay connected.
Well, just up for an energetic event coming your way. SSERD's outreach program is up here. It begins tomorrow for all the domains. That is, we've got students of school and university, we've got educators, that is teachers, and the whole of the public domain. All of you are welcome to join. For the whole of outreach program, we will have sessions and energetic competitions in the same way. If you want to register for the program, please visit outreach.sserd.org to register yourself. And I do know that we did release our competitions a month ago. So expecting that many of you have already worked on it and spent like so much of thought and effort into getting that to the final submission stages. Please use bit.ly/op21comp. This is the link for you to submit the competitions. Well, this wrap up of World Space Week does not mean an end of any of such exciting events at SSERD. Tune in tomorrow for another set of even more exciting sessions coming your way, and please visit Global Space Nerds without space, that is GLOBALSPACENERDS.net to attend our events. See you there. Until then, aspire the universe. Thank you.